So we always try to get a couple of questions in here just to see what people are thinking as far as referrals. Check on the bottom of your screen to do the chat and put your answers into. Referrals are essential to success in sales. What percentage for B2B start their buying process with a referral? Let's see. So Peter's going to go 95%. Just because he's our speaker today and he's going to come up with that. Jared, what do we got?
Well, I thought everybody was going to go straight to Scantron on me with all C's, but I got C's and B's. The answer I saw was 84%. So Anthony, you were correct right off the bat. And I mean, I would say from my own personal thoughts, we're in the process of moving. So my first thought, for finding things is asking people, who do I call?
It's actually pretty aligned too. You'll find statistically 83% of consumers would refer if asked.
Probably the other piece of this conversation is there are referrals and there are leads, and there are people who become business as opposed to introductions you get passed around to. So the other question, people love to feel appreciated, and gifts are a great way to show appreciation for that referral. So according to the study, non-cash incentives are how much more effective than cash? Or, as Jared points out here, could this be a misguided question? What do we got for answers, Jared?
Let's see. Everybody's pretty spot on this one. The highest one is the best. 25% is what I saw.
All right.
If somebody offered me $10 or some cool swag, I'd probably take the cool swag. So yeah, I'm with you.
All right. So we have with us today Peter and Jane. Well, it sounds like a movie again from days back. Anyway, the conversation is about how to show appreciation. So we're going to turn it over to Peter and Jane. They're going to have a conversation and then have time for us to ask questions and figure out what the right way to do this is. So Peter, Jane, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it's great to be here. I'll kind of kick things off, and then Jane and I will have a bit of a dialogue about this for your benefit, and then we'll close it for some question and answer. But Peter Velardi, and I'm the CEO of ReferMe IQ. We exist really to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to help businesses build a high growth referral based business. And what I mean by that is you can get one referral and have an okay business, so you can get a steady stream of referrals and have a great business. So today we're going to tag team on kind of one element of that. We're going to first start with some context around why referrals and what does this really mean? Because if you understand the human nature factor of this, all things become much easier to see. So we'll talk about why referrals. We'll talk about how to become more referable, in part using forms of appreciation that are most meaningful to them. And I love the conversation so far about some of the things that people are doing. And then we'll talk about some next steps that you can take. We're going to talk at 10,000 feet because we only have 10 minutes, but we'll kind of hit on all these and we'll take an angle of attack at appreciation. So that's kind of what we're set up to do today. Jane, anything you'd add by way of an intro to that?
No, but I am Jane Sylvester, and I am the owner of Vernon South, and I am your guru of all things corporate gifting and promotional products, as well as apparel and merchandise. So from design to doorstep delivery, I create merchandise and gift programs for organizations that make sense to their business.
Great. And Jane just shared with us, she's had 2 holes-in-ones in the last 5 months. So that's pretty exciting for those of us that have enjoyed golf our whole lives, but have not accomplished that. So Jane, congratulations. So let's start with this whole idea, and I'm going to play Captain Obvious with this crew a little bit, but let's talk about what is the business case for referrals and why should we be pressing hard together on this for the benefit of our businesses, for our relationships, and for referrals. And then Jane will kind of do the same from a perspective of branding and gifting and differentiated value. So you know this, but from your perspective, it is the way to build a business. You know that, but I'm going to back you up on a few things. First, it is the lowest cost, highest conversion form of lead generation that you can get, not by a little, but by 400%. And it reduces your friction so much because the most important thing it does for you is gives you leverage. If you think about your business, my business, any business, there's always three vital statistics: activity times success ratio or conversion times how big the check is or your sales size. There is no strategy that drives all three better than doing that. But to do that, you need to become referable, have a system that generates referrals, but also a system that converts referrals. That's certainly what we do, but you're doing that now yourself as well. So from a business perspective, this makes a tremendous amount of sense. From your clients and their relationships perspective, you know a lot about this, but I'll add some more to what you know. People want to refer. 83%, as I said, of people would refer you if asked. And you might be surprised to know that, yes, gifting makes sense. Yes, incentives make sense. And absolutely keeps your business top of mind to show appreciation. But just know what you're really doing is you're giving them what they already want to do. Humans feel great when they make a difference in another human's life, right? So we just need to we need to help that along and make that happen. So anything you can do to make that easier for people and to reinforce their relationship with them and that they're doing good, they're actually making a difference in people's lives, which is what people want to put on the gravestone. Understanding that motivation above and beyond anything else is super critical to referral success. And then lastly, referrals want to be referred. We want to learn about a business through a relationship that we have that we trust. And helping that transfer of trust and the the fact you're credible already is super important. So for your business, top shelf. For them, we're just going to give people a way to make a difference and make it easy for them. And then for referrals, we're going to create that path for them that makes it really easy for them to see what their relationship has and why they should consider doing business with you. So those are some just general thoughts about why referrals. Jane, how would you answer that from your perspective?
Well, to answer just specifically to why, because acknowledging your referral sources and appreciating them, it's the right thing to do, right? And it works from a standpoint of building and strengthening the relationship with those who matter most. And at the same time, you're being responsible to your brand as well. So I think it's really, really important to just remember that it's the right thing to do, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. And I know you see kind of the before and after with your clients with this. You know, can you talk a little bit more about when people implement, for example, a gifting strategy,
right,
and show appreciation,
Yeah.
What do you see as some of the outcomes of that are visible to you?
Well, I think that I have some gift ideas and I had some, if anyone wants to do that, share. Hal, can you share the screen? And I'll just, okay.
Go ahead and you can share your screen.
Oh, sweet. Okay, very good. All right. I wanted to, can you, let me just zoom in a little bit.
We can see it.
Okay. I wanted to, the reason the good news is there's not just one right way of gifting to show your appreciation. I think that acknowledging it's very, very unique and customized for each business in your model. And I think that is where I can help is customizing a gifting program to best support your your referral sources and acknowledging and appreciating them. But, it's about being prepared. It is about, because when Peter can help you with your systems and the how to be consistent in acknowledging and knowing who your referrals are and making it easy for your referral sources to refer. Now it is about having a process in place where you set it so you don't forget it. So if you have a menu of gift items that makes sense for your business, you know, every single business is different, but it's important to be prepared and to have the gifts on hand, whether it's something that is to your point, Hank, an edible, where it's super easy to have gifts on hand. And I love this. This is a great brand right here, but it's just a great way to have them on the shelf, pop a thank you note inside, and it's easy to mail. If it's not there, you're not going to do it. And you're missing out on an opportunity to strengthen your brand and strengthen the relationships that matter most. And so I can send this to you guys. I'm not going to waste too much time, but I think it's really important to be prepared. You have your system in place with all of those, you know, the gift options, being unique, make them your own. And even if you need a bunch, I think someone had mentioned this earlier, you have a collection of gift ideas, including a handwritten note with really nice quality stationery, because those are all going to reflect you. They are going to reflect you and your services and what that recipient means to you. And I think that the aftermath is really, it is just, you're going to see more of what you're going to just see more referrals, and you're going to strengthen those relationships because people like to do business with those they like and they trust. And I think they like to then refer people to those who, because your reputation is on the line when you're referring. So again, that's just some ideas and some thoughts around in order to be successful with appreciating and acknowledging your referral sources, you have to be prepared and have that process in place of who to gift, when, and how. And that's what I can do to help. So.
Perfect. That's awesome. So let's spin off a little bit to close this off with more of the systems approach. So you said set and forget and having a system. And so it's out of sight, out of mind, and you can go about doing what you do best. That is so critical to referral success, right? So to add a little bit more meat to the bones in terms of the how-to, as you said, Jane, think of it this way. Think about the real end game here is you want to become more referable than even you are right now. So what steps can you take to become more referable? How can you create a path to generate more high quality, high conversion referrals? Then how can you have a back-end system that helps you convert those to your best clients with all the behaviors happening that should happen in between that we all know we should do, but often we don't do. So here's some note-taking that you can just jot down some notes on, some real quick kind of hard-hitting how-tos. So the first thing is in the bucket of becoming referable, just think of three things. One is contact. Increasing how often we put our businesses in front of people increases how referable you are, and do it lots of different ways. Think about all the channels: text, phone, email is the top channel. Think about it, social. Think about all the ways you can put yourself in front of people. That's one. Two is being really conscious of adding value, and adding value comes lots of different ways. Sometimes it's asking really great questions and listening. Sometimes it's value in terms of an article or something you thought would be helpful. Sometimes it's just a fun movie clip or a GIF of some type that people say, wow, you know, I was having a rough day, you made my day. So just think about first increasing your contact across the board, having a system that nurtures all your layers of relationships, your network, your clients, all the people that you know, if you had a 15-minute coffee meeting once a month with them and you told them about your business, added some value and asked for strategic introductions, that would go really well and your businesses would explode. You wouldn't need to do anything else, but you need a system first to do that. So one is contact, two is to add value. The third is to demonstrate the 4 referable values. And you can just rate yourself on this, and they're very simple. It's showing up on time, doing what you say, finishing what you start, saying please and thank you, which is what we're talking about today. Businesses that do those 4 things are simply more referable. I'm sure you're like me where you're just amazed how few how few businesses we do business with actually do those things and actually do what they say and finish what they start, for example. So those are things. And then the last thing I'll say about this, if you were to say, what does a great system look like, whether it's automated in our case with ReferMe IQ, or whether you have one that you do manually, just there's 5 things that have to happen, not 10. If you do these 5 things, you will explode your businesses. One is we need to ask those people for referrals in ways they prefer to be asked. And face-to-face referrals has dropped off the planet because of Zoom world that we're in by evidence of today. So you've got to find other ways of asking people for referrals, including potentially in Zoom meetings, as Hal just did for me, with me, before we got on the broadcast together. So asking for referrals is important. Second is giving them reasons to refer. It can be incentives, but it could be non-incentives like, hey, I'm sure you want to make a difference in the lives of others you care about. This is a way to do it. The third is to facilitate a proper introduction. Most businesses drop the ball on this. We need to make it easy for people to introduce you to their referral properly so that when you contact them, number 4, they're already interested in you and the trust has been transferred. Most businesses fail here because they get into all these like dorky things like, do you think you can send, Jane an email and say nice things about me? Or you think you're going to run into Jared on the golf course and can you say something nice about me? It's an inconvenience. Most people don't do that well, and it puts the burden on them. Let's make it easy for them. And then lastly, if you do this referral game right, 100% of your referrals will be people requesting contact from you as opposed to you chasing them, which leads to very high conversion new client acquisition for you. So that's some of the structural pieces that need to be in any system. What we've just done with our business is we've completely automated all of that. So you just know all that's going to happen, whether you feel great or not, because the enemy here is human nature. It's a little awkward to do all those things for some people. So we don't do them consistently or often enough, and the lack of a system. So Jane, anything you'd add to that in terms of ways to become more referable, how to use appreciation gifts or anything else? The thing I liked about Jane when we first talked is we both automate this for you, whether it's her with the back end of showing appreciation to deepen those relationships and nurture those with clients, or whether it's us where we systematize that whole thing from soup to nuts. Jane, anything you'd add to that?
No, I think that this is an opportunity, just touching on this topic, this is an opportunity for you to look a little deeper into your overall marketing and branding strategy and how some of these components can add to your overall strategic plan for your business. Here's where you are today. Where do you want to be? And how do you want to especially impact your retention of key clients and key referral sources? Here's how. And that customer experience and that journey is critical, not just for your employees, but for your clients as well as your referral sources. So being consistent. And how do you become consistent is by utilizing great tools, systems, and processes in place to be able to repeat what works. And we can always tweak, we can always refine, but it's really, really important. It's really important. It's not only what you're doing for your business, but remember, things that you're not doing could be hurting your business. So that's all I've got to say.
Peter, I'll jump in. Jane, thank you both for some comments, and I'll kind of put this out to those who are on the call. Do you thank people for offering to introduce you, or do you wait for people to do something specific? Right, Brad, you were talking about revenue share. Do you go to the point of saying, I will thank you and show my appreciation when you give me a lead that converts? Or is it something, so I'm kind of curious, Don, Anthony, Brad, what's your thoughts about, do you thank somebody just because they offered to introduce you?
I mean, I always do. I mean, I think, whether it's just an email or something like that. I mean, it's, I think you take a look at, there's so many different sales pieces out there. And now that I'm in sales for the last year and a half, and I was always a finance weenie before that, it's hard to know, exactly, someone offers to introduce you, you don't want to sit there and, for lack of a better word, give them a ton of stuff and then nothing ever comes of it, because then you start to feel that, that it's not like a mutual type of relationship. So, I always try to focus on saying thank you, and how can I help introduce you better to people as well? What can I do to help you further your business? And approach it from that. And mine isn't whether they introduce me to someone or not, I still go ahead and live up to what I asked them to do for me.
So similar to Don, so obviously the revenue share comes after the individual becomes a client, but we also know not every referral necessarily becomes a client. But I think it's still important along that way to as has been said before, is just to acknowledge that there was a referral made and to be thankful for that. So that way they'll be more open to give a referral down the road. But I also think it's helpful, as has probably been said as well, to also share referrals with them. It's a two-way street.
So okay, so your point is, and Brad, I think you and Don are both saying that if somebody says they're going to do something for you, you're thanking them at the beginning. Jane and I had this conversation about, do you thank a lot of people with a small something, or only give a big gift, a big thank you when some deal closes?
That's a good question, because in my limited experience, I always thank them personally, for the introduction, or even the offer of the introduction. And I always ask, what can I do to help further their business along? And then when it closes, typically I'll follow up again and want to express my thanks. I'll thank them again and let them know whether or not the business has carried forward. But as far as offering a gift, most of them have just replied, no, just, if you introduce me, keep me in your loop, keep me in your referral base of people that you use. And then that's, the swag component. For some people, they love it. Typically, right, more of my swag goes to potential clients as opposed to referral partners.
Got it. Hank, I'm curious. I know you do a lot of networking, and you obviously you're dealing with people's money, so trust is important. So how do you recognize the referrals the way Peter and Jane were talking about process, but when do you thank them?
Yeah, so I always make sure, I always thank for referrals. I always send a good note thanking for referrals. I don't typically gift until something has closed. And I think the other thing that's important is that you keep the referral aware of the conversation and what's going on, because they've trusted you to deal with maybe one of their clients. And so you tell them what's going on, whether it closes or not, and tell them why it didn't close. So that's one of the things I do. I am curious about one thing, and I'm curious, and I know we're running out of time, but I'd be interested in Jane and Peter's opinion on what I call the user, the person that always says they're going to be a great referral source for you. And you give them a couple of referrals and they go and they chase those and you never get anything back from them. Mm-hmm. So it's the girl in college that says that bats her eyes at you and says, "Can you help me with my homework?" Then she won't go out with you. So
sounds familiar, Hank. Yeah, so just to weigh in real quick. So that does happen. From a referral source perspective, there's something called the rule of 10 that works very, very well. You always want to have a universe of 10 people that you have got this great referral relationship. They refer to you, you refer to them. And if one, for example, of that 10, if you do your part, which of course I'm hearing from all of you, that's what we do. We want to make sure that we deliver if we say we're going to do it. But if they don't do their part, then all you do is replace that person with another one to come up with 10, because the concept is there's 10 great referral relationships that may or may not come with rev share, right? And that can be very meaningful, as I heard a few of you say. But the concept is great humans want to help other humans, and you'll find at least 10 of those that actually will do what they say they're going to do. And then I'll just say one more thing too. Out of the 1,000+ people that use our platform, for example, most people want to thank people when they refer others, but they usually gift and incent on the conversion. So the vast majority don't offer gift cards or anything if somebody refers. But what's critical, and this is what happened with me when Hal had asked me for referrals using our system. And when I sent the referrals to him, instantly our system sends a thank you note. All the research says that if you thank immediately after the referral or very close to it, that'll reinforce that behavior and they'll start thinking immediately of others to refer to you. But incentives and rewards usually come at the time when it converts to some revenue of some type for you. So I just thought I'd share that data point with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that goes to reinforcing, defining that customer experience and the journey you're wanting to deliver, and all of the different engagement touch points. Only one or two of them might be a gift, but the others are an email, a handwritten note, and you name it. All those different touch points that make and strengthen the relationships with those who matter most. And if you don't define it, everyone knows when you write something down and you write down your plan and you calendar it, then most likely you are going to follow through consistently. But mapping it out and defining what the experiences are you want to deliver. And I love the closing the loop on not only thanking for the referral, but then keeping in touch and letting them know, good, bad, or ugly, here's what happened. And that's super important. That's just good relationship management.
Critical.
Thank you so much for that. And Peter, thank you for your insights as well. Just in wrapping up, that combination that we're so good at doing about it, still have a little more humor. So thank you, Jared, for the humor about how much do you deserve a thank you. Call out that next week we're talking with Derek Griffin, and he runs a remote workers office environment. So get a sense of what that's like. Brad, who's on the call today, will be talking about benchmarking business expenses. I think there's some really good insights here that I think Brad starts opening up conversations. Kelsey Geist will be back in a couple of weeks. She's got more great stories about how to deal with employees and hiring and bringing people back and such, tied to the recovery, to the pandemic. And then you can see in June after the Memorial break, trends in digital marketing. So,
Hey, Hal, real quick plug for Jane, for you guys. She made these for me, these little notebooks. I live by these things, and every person I give them to is really thankful. I was looking for something that somebody would touch like every day, and
Yes.
these are great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank
Awesome.
you, Jared.
all right, guys. Thanks again for joining us, Peter, Jane. Thanks so much. And y'all have a great week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you too,
thank
Al.
you guys. Thank you,
Thank
Peter.
y'all very
Thanks,
much.
everybody. You bet. Enjoyed it.